Live from Arkansas's breaking news leader, Fox 16 News at 9 starts now.
The controversy around the Little Rock School District is far from over tonight, even though the state board voted to give back local control. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Donna Terrell. At first, that vote came as a relief since an earlier proposal by the board would have divided the district. That sparked protests, with critics fearing it would segregate schools. But many people still left that meeting angry.
Hopefully there's a legal remedy. Hopefully there's a way to rein these folks in.
Frustration coming from another vote to essentially end the teachers union by stripping its bargaining power. Our Susan L. Corey following this tonight. Now, Susan, these are two different issues, and both are leaving parents and teachers scratching their heads.
Yeah, Donna, a big part of the confusion and problem here is that no one wants to get their hopes up. Many felt slighted by the vote to end the union, to the point they're now questioning the local control vote and wondering if the other shoe is going to drop.
It seemed like a sleight of hand that this was all, kind of calculated from the beginning.
For the second day in a row, Ryan Davis is back at the State Board of Education, not for a meeting, but to try and figure out what's going on with the Little Rock School District.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
He was one of dozens who sat and watched the board unanimously vote to give back local control.
Motion carries unanimously.
But that moment of relief is leaving more questions. The board called the vote a starting point and then hinted the state could still have a hand in the schools.
Does that mean that we won't have an empowered school board? We'll have an elected one, but it won't be empowered.
Adding to that concern was another vote to virtually end the teachers union.
A handshake and then a stab in the back at the same time.
The timing of these decisions have many asking what's going on. State Rep Tibby McCullough giving us her take on the phone.
Everything was done so quickly and without explanation. I think that there was a lot of confusion in the room and a lot of frustration.
She's one of many trying to find a way to bring back the union, arguing it's what's needed to hold on to teachers.
We all want what's best for the students, and we have to find a way to come together and to achieve that.
All part of a balance between politics and education.
The schools belong to all of us.
About 70% of teachers are members of the union. They're talking about meeting next week to just figure out where to go from here. Back to you.
All right, Susan, thank you. Of course, we will be following developments in the coming days and weeks. You can follow us on air and online at fox16.com for the very latest. History made in the state legislature. For the first time in over a century, the Arkansas House of Representatives voted to expel one of its members. Mickey Gates is out as representative for House District 22 after pleading no contest to not filing or paying his state income taxes. Gates represents parts of Garland and Saline counties. The last time a member was expelled was in 1837. Speaker of the House Matthew Shepard cited state law that says they can kick out a member for not necessarily pleading guilty. Despite being on probation, Gates says he's not yet been found guilty of anything.
I am still afforded the right of due process and the right of a presumption of innocence until I am found guilty.
He is now serving his probation, and therefore I believe it's entirely appropriate and proper for us to approve this resolution and to expel Representative Gates.
The House voted 88-4 in favor of expelling Gates. Only 7 abstained. Now the House has a vacant seat that will either be filled next November or the governor can call for a special election to fill the vacancy. Authorities in Texarkana made a stunning discovery during a raid last week on a child sex abuse warrant. But what they found inside the home was far from what they were expecting. Officials say the body of an adult woman was wrapped in a garbage bag with duct tape and blankets. They discovered the body was being a skeleton. Investigators believe it belongs to a 40-year-old woman, but DNA confirmation has not come back, not yet anyway. So far, no charges have been filed. Little Rock police are investigating a shooting that left a person injured. This happened Thursday night near the intersection of Impala and Teledrive. According to the report, the victim was shot in the arm. No suspect has been named at this time. An update to a story you first heard on Fox 16. 23-year-old Breeden Wynn first made headlines after breaking into a Conway church and causing thousands of dollars in damage. At the time, he was homeless and he suffered from a severe drug addiction. Our Michael Esparza visited Wynn to hear how he's getting a second chance from the people he once victimized.
Things just went from bad to worse that night.
23-year-old Breeden Wynn recalls the cold February night when he broke into Central Baptist Church.
I don't think that I picked this church. I believe God picked me because I was not strong enough to pick myself up out of my addiction.
High and enraged, surveillance footage shows Breeden smashing glass and even using a fire extinguisher to cause damage.
There was quite a bit of physical damage.
But fast forward 8 months, and there's a different man walking around that very same church.
Today I can look back and I'm thankful that I was in those situations because I am completely restored.
I baptize you now, my brother. In the name.
The church baptized him in front of the entire congregation, showing that it's never too late to be forgiven.
It's never too late to change. I thought that I had gone too far for God to even love me.
While forgiveness doesn't usually come easy, it did for this church, thanks to a rehabilitation center called Renewal Ranch.
This is a story more than anything of grace and redemption and a story of just new life that is offered to us through a relationship with the Lord.
Breeden says Renewal Ranch is helping him make his way back.
First, it starts with forgiving yourself, and then you can go and try to right other wrongs.
Now, an active member of the same church he once tried to destroy, he's giving back and showing love.
Renewal Ranch saved my life.
Reporting in Conway, Michael Esparza.
Well, Wynn has already served 4 months in jail, and his felony charges still stand. But the judge has ordered that he return to court after graduating from rehabilitation, which will be in March of next year. The restrooms at 2 parks in BEEBE are closed due to ongoing vandalism. These are pictures of Daniel Park and Looney Park. We're told on multiple occasions pine needles were gathered and lit on fire during the night. Light fixtures were shattered and sinks damaged. Currently, the park's restrooms are closed until further notice, but directors say they're working on a plan to keep them open during the daylight hours. New at 9, it's opening day at the Arkansas State Fair. Fox 16's Tara Thomas spent some time there today. Tara, I'm wondering, did you get on any of those wild rides?
I did not, Donna, but I did enjoy them from afar. The Mega Drop in particular, which, by the way, you will never see me riding. We watched these people strap into this ride slowly rise to what looked like hundreds of feet in the air, and then without warning just plummet back down into a free fall drop to the ground.
Like you're falling?
Do you regret doing it?
Absolutely not.
Will you do it again?
Absolutely.
Well, what is it look up there? I mean, that is a really sunset right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of heights, so like looking out, I was pretty worried, and then falling was even scarier.
If plummeting it to your death is not your idea of a good time, there are, of course, an abundance of other family rides and very fun stuff to do. Check out more from our fair trip today at fox16.com. You can also get event schedules and more of what's going on at the fair at our website. Back to you.
All right, I'm with you on that Mega Drop. I don't think I can do it either. But while you're at the fair, Steve Lander's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is giving back to charity and giving you a chance to crush for the cure. For $1 a swing, you get a small or large sledgehammer and a pair of goggles to go at it on this clunker car. The money goes toward cancer research. They've donated $40,000 over the past 6 years, and they're hoping to raise that to $45,000 this year. They'll probably do it. Still to come, a change in the weather forcing flood victims in Iowa out of their temporary homes. A look at where more than 80 people are staying and what officials say is the next step. Plus this.
We have less than 95,000 spaces.
More space is desperately needed at the Arlington National Cemetery. A look at how this is impacting families and leaders across the U.S. and the conversation it's sparking on Capitol Hill.
What's Friday night mean to you?
I get chills. It's comfortable. It feel like home. Lights on, and it's night, and it's just time to show what you got.
I mean, it's going to be a good night.
I got to put it all on the line.
crazy. I love that feeling. It's one of a kind. You can't. There's no better feeling.
You love it. That's why you play. So just bring it.
Last opportunity to show everybody what I got.
Give me one word that describes Friday night.
Fearless. Watch Fearless Friday on Fox 16.